Hi, I'm Marcy Lamberson, and today we are going to make a beetle. Yeah, not just any kind of beetle, but a scarab beetle. You remember these scarab beads? They've been around a long time. In fact, they were really popular, back in what was it, the 20s or the 30s when Tutankhamun's pyramids were discovered, the tombs of them. Well, and then they've always kind of stayed popular in and out. And I have a couple of pictures to show you. I think the ones that I think about the most kind of look like this, just kind of three pieces. There's the top, the middle section, and then there's a line in between that would indicate that. And then they have a little bit of height to them as well. And then I saw this kind. Let me get another picture out from over here. And these, I believe, were done by Tiffany. And these were in glasses, kind of shiny glass. So we're going to make something a little bit closer to this. And I'll show you my turquoise one again. And then if you have reduction glass that has a nice shine to it, the silver glass, and I would suggest something like iris, it would be really fun to make one that looks like that in a reduction silver glass. It would be a wonderful use. So let me show you this one again. And this is what we're going to be making today. So let's get started. I have my turquoise rod and my 3/32 mandrel. And let me just double check. Yep, I wanted to double check my system also to make sure everything was fine there. I'm just moving a little bit of the glass out of the way because I've been making more bug videos. You've got the scarab one, but I also have two different types of bumblebees and a ladybug one that I've just finished. So look around on my YouTube channel because I've got them, I've got flowers, animals, techniques, all kinds of things. So we're going to start with pretty much a small barrel bead that's going to be kind of longish. And let me get my bead release heated up first also. It changes to two colors. It starts out kind of a blue-gray, then it's a kind of a dark gray that doesn't look too blue, and then it goes to this kind of whitish color. And once I've heated it all the way through, I take my mandrel out of the flame, and I want to keep it warm, but I don't want to put it in the flame anymore if possible. It just kind of wears away on your bead release. And sometimes the bead release doesn't last as long when we put our mandrels right in the flame. So I work underneath the flame, and as you can tell, I'm a lefty, and I work from my hand that's holding the mandrel out towards the tip. So let's get some glass on here, and then we can marber it and get it where we want it to go. This is kind of a faster bead, but I thought I did a whimsical bead that was a bee, bumblebee, and the ladybug is not really real, but it's not quite as whimsical as the bumblebee is. And this one's kind of a little more sophisticated, I would say, than the other two. And I thought, let's give you a variety. I think these as small ones could make really cool looking earrings too. Now, you don't have to make them turquoise. I know that they used to make them, the Egyptians made them out of something, I believe that's called faience or something like that. That was kind of a turquoisey blue color. And it usually was kind of crazed, which means it kind of looked like it had crackles in it. They were kind of cool, I thought. I remember my grandmother having some scarabs in her jewelry box. But you know, they seem to have withstood the test of time, and they're still around. But why not? Let's do something a little bit differently. Okay, so This is going to go rather fast because most of this, there's a little bit of pressing, and then a lot of the work is going to be just using either your razor or a sharp brass edge or something to cut in the design. There's really not a whole lot to it. So let's marver it first and get it into shape. And so what I'm doing is, this is a Cote Marver. If you haven't seen one before, I absolutely adore using it. I'm going to want it a little bit rounded here and then a little bit, not pointy, but more rounded there. And I want to make it a little bit bigger, but don't forget, we're going to press the bottom flat and that will widen whatever we make also. So I'm going to make this just a little bit thinner at the top. It's not going to be quite as wide, and maybe I'll add just a little bit of width towards the bottom, not right at the very bottom, but 3/4 of the way down from the top. We'll add just a little more glass and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so let's heat it up and then we'll marver it and get going. I'm trying to make this one of those quick ones that you can watch and then stylize it the way you want to have it. So I'm just getting the glass melted in. I'm looking for dark lines, and the dark lines mean that it isn't quite all melted in yet. It's looking pretty good. Let's give it a little marver. And I'm angling it just a tiny bit towards the top so it's wider down here and a little bit more pointy there. And then what I'm going to do is heat up one section. See how that's nice and hot? This part's cooler. And I'm just going to flatten it. Boom. Just like that. See, it's flat on one side. So that makes it easy for wearing. And then I've got this top part that I can use to cut in for my scarab. And we're going to think of it in 3 sections. There's the smaller head part. And if I want this a little more rounded, I have a couple of options. Because I have 2 eyeballs up here, that will also, I can make them go off the end a little more and that will elongate it. I can even add a dot across the top and blend it in. Watch this trick. See how I made just a tiny little rainbow there? We're going to melt that in, and it's going to extend over the top just a touch. And what it will do is it will round it up, and it will also help cover any of the bead wrapping that you do. We go, just a little bit. Done. Well, that's not exactly even. I need one more little dot to even it up because we may have extended it, but we want to extend it evenly. There we go. See how easy it is just to add just a touch more glass? And that way it's better to get it just the way you want it instead of settling. Okay, so we've spent some time up here. We need to be sure to keep this bottom section warm also, right? Here we go. Because you know, when you stick your bead into the flame, if it glows right away, then you're doing fine. But if it doesn't, you need to get some heat into it. So there are 3 sections. Let's cut the middle to the last section first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my razor, and don't forget, don't put your razor into the flame. You can heat your glass and then use your razor, but it's kind of thin and it will get hot and then it will stick to your glass. So you want to keep it cool. So 2/3 of the way up, I'm going to make just a little indentation right there. Boom, done. Okay, so there's your middle section. And we're going to go up about a little more than halfway, and we're going to do one more, and that's going to indicate where the head is, right up here. And then we're going to start making grooves along the bottom. And I like starting in the middle, and I just go down and I rock it back and forth. Now, if my blade is getting too warm, one of the easy things I can do is dunk it into a cup with some cool water in it. See, I'm just rocking it. And a lot of people will keep like a coffee cup or something with some cool water in it. Let's do the other side. Sometimes I'll do the center one and then I'll go back and forth on each side to do the rest of the indentations. Okay, so I got a little bit of my indenting in the middle section, and the way that we erase that is I hold it underneath the flame and I just heat that section up a little bit. Now, while that's cooling, I'm going to heat the back to make sure that stays plenty warm. Okay, so now for the front section. I need a head with some eyeballs on it. I just touched my mandrel and that broke off. Let's get that out of the way. And I want to add some eyeballs on it. So let's do 2 dots. This is really easy, you guys. And here's a side view. We're going to change that side view just a touch also. So we've got, here's the center. We're going to add some there. 1 eyeball there. And we're going to add 1 eyeball here. And we're going to heat that while it cools just a tiny bit. And I don't want the eyeballs to pop up that much, so I'm just going to press them down just a tiny bit. So now we've got that. Now on the scarab beads that I've seen all along, they had kind of an indentation on the lower side of where the mandrel would be. So what I'm going to do is heat up that side glass, and I'm going to run a blade right across it like where the bottom of my mandrel would be. See this part right here? And then I'm going to heat it again, and I'm going to straighten it just a bit with my edge here with my brass stump shaper. And that looks kind of like the scarab beads that I've seen before. It kind of did that. We're going to do the same on the other side. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I wanted to try. And I did it on my other bead too. So I'm running a line across there that goes all the way up, and then I take my brass tool, or just about any tool. A steel tool would work also, as long as it isn't too hot, and just run it down. That flattens it, and that pushes some of the glass towards the bottom. So we need to reheat that and give it just one more press so we know that it's nice and flat. There we go. Okay, my friends, this is a scarab bead. And I hope you had fun making it, because I sure did. I would love to see you guys make them in different colors. And don't forget, I think silver glass, reduction glass especially, would be awesome with it. So I'm Marcy Lamberson. Don't forget to subscribe. There's all the views. And I'll see you soon with more tutorials. Take care. Bye.